Welcome to the Food is Life podcast with me, Jambo, and
Me, Steph.
Steph. This week, we're talking about something that is very close to your heart because you are actually a couple of days away from going away. So, this week, we are actually talking about how to stay on track on holiday, not necessarily uh, how to completely stick to it, but just how to be mindful of things when you're on holiday. Now, I assume you've got loads of pearls of wisdom that you're actually going to be following yourself this week.
Indeed. So the first thing I'd like to say is no, I'm not asking anyone to track all their calories on holiday. I'm not asking you to continue losing weight. Some people will want to, and that's absolutely fine. And we can cover that a little bit later in the podcast. But for most people, I feel like when you're approaching slash going on holiday, you're going to enjoy yourself, to relax, to de-stress, to, you know, have a good time. And that generally doesn't mean sticking to a calorie deficit, focusing on weighing all your foods, getting the scales, taking them on the plane
Mm-hmm.
with you. So yeah, I thought we could go through some tips and tricks to kind of not undo the progress, because whatever you do, a week or two in the grand scheme of months and years of calorie deficits is not going to, well, it's a whisper in the
Mm-hmm.
thunderstorm, right? So yeah, just a few pointers to point people in the right direction, because it's always nice when you have an event to have something to focus on when it comes to food and
Sure,
staying
I
on
think
track.
it's actually like a really amazing opportunity to be able to put stuff into practice because, like, a lot of people, it's not necessarily even like it's just taking the healthier choices and putting some things that you've learned on the way in principle. Like holidays, a great way of doing it. Like, you don't have to. It's almost like, I guess, when you come towards the end of your journey, you're finding that right balance. Of being mindful, not going gung ho all the time, but also just being aware of stuff. So it's like almost like a little free trial for what life is like. When you meet your goals.
Spot on. Do you know what? The reason I came up with or thought about doing this podcast is one of my lean bean legends at the moment. She's getting close to her goal weight, her goal shape, and everything. And she's been tracking religiously. And a couple of weeks ago, she went on holiday. So it was getting to the point where I wanted to put in and chuck in a diet break, which is a temporary back up to maintenance for a week or two. But as I said to her, it's this holiday's come at the perfect time because I don't want you to track. I want you to try and not eat intuitively, but like listen. I don't, only because I don't like that phrase so much, but it is eat
Hmm.
intuitively. Like listen to your body, kind of understand your hunger cues, take what you've learned from all this tracking, all this knowledge, and this is something that is going to be, as you say, kind of a free trial into the rest of your life once we do get to maintenance. So yeah.
For sure. Now, one thing I'm going to say, Steph, to you is one thing I absolutely love doing when I go on holiday, and I only do it on holiday because I don't do this any other time of year, is I love to have Cocoa Pops for breakfast. Not always, but like if you've got a villa and you buy a pool or whatever, and you've got just sat there eating your Cocoa Pops, I get up before everyone else as well. Just a bit of peace and tranquility, eating my Cocoa Pops, and I think it maybe in years gone by would have felt like a little bit of guilt with that. But then I guess the beauty of it is, like, I guess as I got a bit wiser and maybe a better understanding is how to like balance that in life. Like, I'm enjoying my Cocoa Pops every day, but maybe just be a bit more aware of my activity levels and then make it, you know, I don't know if you have this stuff, but when I go away, I tend to eat in the morning and then probably won't eat until the evening and maybe just graze sort of during the day. But like my daily routine's a little bit different.
First question is: are the Cocoa Pops a pre-breakfast or are they like your main breakfast?
Depends, stuff.
Depends on
It's,
what the
if I can get away with having a bowl of Cocoa Pops before anyone sees me, and then there's discussions of going out for breakfast, then it's pretty.
okay, fine. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I definitely don't tend to skip lunch. I don't tend to skip any meal because food is life.
Fair.
So this is a good talking point in holidays in general because your routine changes when you go away, right?
Yeah.
You have different habits that you have when you're out of the house, you're in a different country or maybe just a different part of the country. And this is where you've got to start to navigate, right? What do I do? What am I doing? Is it helping me towards my goal? Am I just going full cold turkey on everything that I've learned, or are we starting to bring things into place? So, going back to your Cocoa Pops, How we can look at this in a practical sense is when you're going on holiday, let's say, just to keep it easy, let's say it's for a week's period. So what I want you to think about is instead of being in a calorie deficit, you're going to skip back up to maintenance for those 7 days.
That's a treat in itself.
Isn't it just? So let's say that's an extra, to keep the numbers nice and simple, 500 calories a day. So things like Cocoa Pops, things like grazing on snacks throughout the day, or maybe it's alcohol in the evening, or maybe even not in the evening. You're on holiday, you can drink whatever you want. You've got that extra little room or flexibility to play with your calories without actually thinking about things too much. Make sense?
Yeah.
So when it comes to looking at the actual numbers, even though you're not going to be tracking when you're away, you've got that extra little bit of buffer room. Anyway, should I go on to my next point?
Yeah, go on.
Which brings me on to my next point very nicely. What I want you to think about is if you are going away, because if you're listening to this podcast, the chances are you might be, or you might be soon, or thinking about going away, is think about the routine that you have at home. So that's the eating routine. That is breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. However you do that at home, try and take that into holiday mode as well. So if you're someone that's like, yeah, I want to come back and I want to have not gained weight, not gained body fat, or, you know, a pound or two buffer either side, fine. You need to stick to a similar routine. And that doesn't mean you need to suddenly go and eat salads for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But if you're someone that skips breakfast, usually continue to skip breakfast. If you're someone that doesn't, then try and stick with that same routine. With that being said, think of that extra calorie buffer that you've got. If you know you're going away and you're going to want to enjoy some extra drinks, some alcohol, some beverages, or desserts, doesn't have to be alcohol related, then think about your portion sizes. So think about what you normally do at home. So let's say you've got a plate, a normal size plate, and that's what you usually have as your portion size. So if you know you're going to need some extra calories in the evening or whatever for dessert, reduce that portion size slightly at all your meals so that then you've got that extra, again, that extra little bit of buffer. So I think just going into it with some sort of game plan, with a routine, that R word is a good place to start.
Yeah, for sure. I think like one thing you said there were like desserts and stuff. I love this. Like, so what I do, like before I go out, I think we discussed this on other podcasts about like doing things on your terms as well. So like instead of slipping into like almost like a sloppy habit almost by like going like I'm on my holidays, so I'm gonna have a dessert, and then like end up having a dessert that you're not really fussed about. Like in my mind, I'll be like, I know if this, and this is on the menu, I'm going for it. No regrets, no. But don't like get into that mindless zombie almost eating way of thinking. And the same with drinking as well, I guess. Like some people will like have beer after beer after beer, say, but it's almost through like that mindless, not being aware of it, repetitive nature, and probably maybe after one or two beers, you know, not enjoying it as much, slip onto gin and tonics. You know, just those little things, like to just. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It can just be like small little things that you have it like in your head, in your mind, decide what you're going to do. You don't even have to discuss it with anyone because I know obviously the pressures that you have when you're on your holidays, you know, just have that little chat with yourself.
For sure. Mindfulness and focus going into the holiday, because like I just had a new lean bean course start and we're into week 2. And what one of the ladies said, she's like, because she's never tracked calories before, she's tracking now, and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe how much I used to mindlessly eat. Like just picking up foods when you're cooking dinner, like just grabbing things off kids' plates and stuff. And it is so true, isn't it? Mindless. And that's where so many calories come from so many people. Mindless.
Yeah, for sure. And like another thing I always think, like, just say I'm on starters now, people. I'm just thinking starters, thinking about my holidays. But you're picking a starter, for example. Sometimes like you'll pick something that you're like, you don't know which one to pick, like option A or option B, and like you can use that kind of knowledge that you gain and go, well, I know option A that can be the swinging vote. Is I know that's lower in calories if I'm going to have maybe build in dessert or have a bottle of wine or whatever. You don't even have to discuss that with anyone. You can just look at it and say, like, I can have a plate of olives, or I can have some chicken skewers, say, and I know the chicken skewers may be the better option for me there.
Yeah, for sure. Which brings me on to buffets. Mm-hmm. So one of my one-to-one legends, she's actually just come back from an all-inclusive in Mexico for 10 days. And she came back and but she put on a kilo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. I'm so proud. I'll
do that in the first day.
Yeah, I know, honestly. So she didn't track a single calorie when she was away. In fact, she barely even kept in contact with me because she didn't want to be near her phone. Took her kind of personally, but that's okay. So I said, what did you do? And she was like we've literally just said, she didn't go crazy with desserts, didn't go crazy with alcohol. She ate when she was hungry, kept her portion sizes under control. Boom, Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. Hell yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I really feel like it is like the start of, it's like a free trial for how your life can be when you get away from tracking calories, because you start to just be a bit more aware of, making this slightly smarter, sensible decision. Sometimes you do want to have a plate of frickles or fried pickles for the people, or you might want to have a Biscoff milkshake. Sometimes you just go for it. I'm just saying these examples because there's something that Steph did the other day when we went out for dinner.
By the way, side note, if anyone listening has never had a Biscoff milkshake, literally it will change your life. It's a lot of calories, but it will change your life in such a good way. Carry on.
Yeah, and the Biscoff spread with the crunchy bits in it.
I still am yet to have that. I'm sorry. Am I having that on toast? Or what you
I have mine in my porridge.
Oh, now we're talking.
Yeah. It kind of feels like a cross between a bit of Nutella but biscuits as well. It's melty, delicious. We're just getting a bit sidetracked.
I feel like I could be mindless with that.
For sure. We were talking about holiday buffets and making the right choices, and so it is very much like a free trial, so you can make those sensible decisions, and you don't I think there's a lot of pressures on holiday as well. Like, I've been away when I've been a bit more conscious about my calories and everything, and people have been like, oh, you're on your holidays and stuff, and I do know how the pressures can be, but you can make the right decisions. Like, for example, for me, I love a cocktail. I'm guilty. I love a cocktail, but if I could sit and drink cocktails all evening, but I could just as happily have a gin and tonic. And what is unless sometimes I'll start with, say, a cocktail and be like, lovely, smash that, go on to G&Ts, and I know that it's not, I'm missing out on anything. I'm still enjoying it. Just making that.
How do you socially, because I've spoken to a few gents about this, so like a beer is really like gents drink, isn't it? And gin and tonic is quite a ladies drink, and cocktails and stuff. How do you, so I want your advice on this for the people, and this doesn't just go to males, this goes for anything socially. How do you overcome, that's a girl's drink?
It's a good question. It's a case of toxic masculinity here a little bit. I think you, like anything, when you go against the grain, you're going to get comments, whether you turn down a donut in the office, or you want to go be in bed before 9 o'clock on a weekend, or you order a G&T. You've just got to stick to your guns and just think about, those people usually just are portraying or mirroring their own insecurities onto you. It's taken me many years, and I know I'm a bit long in the tooth and a bit thick in the skin these days, so I can take a lot, but I think you've just got to at some point just go up through the ceiling, the glass ceiling, and just keep pushing through.
And one of my legends, I've actually got a couple more stories. It's very legend orientated today. She's been, actually this is about the same lady, so she's been, let's say, maintenance for the last 3 to 4 weeks because she's had holidays and she's been off work and stuff. And this week, so she's been off for 4 weeks, and she's been around maintenance, right? And she's got to the point now where she's just like, she just wants to get back to work, get back on the gain train, and get back to losing weight, feeling good and stuff. And she said to me this week, she's been at her parents, and usually when her parents would serve her lunch, for example, and this isn't just this example, but she actually declined, and she said, no, I'm just going to eat what I've got, because whatever it was quite high calorie, and she just didn't want it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's another one of those social situations. And she said, she was like, no one actually cared. She was like, usually out of politeness, I would have just eaten it. But she was like, I was just at the point where I just didn't want it, and I was just over it. And I was like, this is awesome.
100%. Like, even when people do make a comment, they'll make a comment for half a second, or they might badger on for a minute or two, but they don't actually care. Once they get on with enjoying themselves, nobody cares. It's the same thing with, like, you know, that whole, oh, I don't want to go into a gym because I feel like everyone's going to be staring at me. And then reality is so different when you do get into the gym and you actually start, like, belonging. Like, nobody cares. Nobody ever cares. Like,
literally,
it is funny, isn't it? But I guess.
But you also have. Sorry.
Go on.
I was going to say, you also have to remember, nobody knows the bigger picture of that choice you're making right there. Like this legend, for example, her parents, they didn't, but they might have been like, oh, go on, just eat the lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'd be like, oh, you're eating your own lunch. Like, that's so boring, whatever. But they don't know the bigger picture of the last 4 weeks. She's actually been enjoying herself quite a lot. She's had a lot of extra foods, high calorie foods that she wouldn't
100%.
necessarily be eating. And people don't see that bigger picture, but it also doesn't matter. Like, but knowing yourself, that you're confident in yourself with what you're doing and the choices you're making, and literally, who gives a stuff what anyone else says anyway?
100%. I think as well, you've got a bit of responsibility to yourself. You have to show strength and stick to your guns, because then it shows people that you're serious about things as well. Because if anybody says, "Oh, go on," and you crumble, why should they take you seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to. It's not like they're against you. I don't think anyone that's around you is against you. It's like they can get on board with you if you're saying, like, all your lads going for a curry. I'm actually gonna have a chicken tikka, and I'm not gonna have a beer. I'm gonna have a whatever you want, Jameson's instead. Like, you're still there, you're still enjoying it, you're still a part of it. But now people know that, like, even if they dig at you and have a little pop, but they can go like, wow, actually on reflection, they're really serious about what they're doing. And like, I can get behind that, I can understand. Like, you kind of gain respect by giving yourself respect.
First they will ask why, then they will ask how. Love that one.
So let's get back onto our holidays, because we've gone for curries. We're talking about pressures. One thing actually I was going to say about holidays, and like when it comes to, I know like a lot of people feel like they're going to lose loads of progress and worry about tracking. Do they need to track? On the other hand of activity, and I think this is something that a lot of people don't. It doesn't apply for everyone, because some people are very active anyway. But even like, if you go to the gym 5 times a week, but the rest of the day you're sat at a desk, and then all of a sudden you're going on holiday and you're walking down to the beach, you're playing on the beach for a couple of hours with kids or friends, and then you're walking back home, and then you're walking back down to go have dinner, for example. The amount of activity that you do through the day is going to be actually higher than you probably when you're just sat at home all day. So, like, obviously you can't just rely on your activity, but sometimes people, I think, feel guilty because they're like, oh, I'm eating all this food, I'm not doing anything. But I mean, for example, I went away last September, super active, go to the gym all the time, try and get my step count up. And I was doing, even on the days where I was like, I've done nothing today, I was doing 18,000, 20,000 steps. Obviously you can't bank on that sort of stuff, but it just shows the difference in when you're away, city breaks, or if you're going away with the kids, you're just being a little bit more active. So don't feel guilty even if you're eating at maintenance.
And also, talking of activity, I think a lot of people maybe are not as active as they'd like to be in general normal life. But when you go away, you have more time, you have more headspace. So it's a time that maybe this is a chance to get your steps up. Go out for that
100%.
morning walk or walk down the beach or whatever, and it will make you realize how lovely it is releasing those happy endorphins. It makes the rest of the day just absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you're going to go out for dinner and you've got maybe a 20-minute walk, you can walk there, walk back. All of a sudden, you might have done 10,000 steps, or go out for breakfast and grab a coffee, or just make an effort just to be a bit more. If you do want to lounge by the pool all day or sunbathe all day, just make those decisions and say, "Oh, while it's cooler, let's get out. Let's go. I can go down and have a beer at 8 o'clock in the morning if I want, but let's walk there."
That's my kind of holiday. Getting some steps
maybe coffee at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Cocoa Pops, coffee, and then a beer by 9.
And G&T at 10.
Yeah, you don't want to stay on beer all day, do you?
No. Speaking of fluids, this is where water literally for so many people goes out the window or into the swimming pool. Nobody remembers to drink water. To drink water when they're away. But again, it's taking all those healthy habits that you do when you're at home into this holiday, and water is one of the simplest things to do, but one of the easiest things to forget. So again, even if that's finding a different routine with water in terms of, just guzzle 500 ml in the morning before your Cocoa Pops, 500 ml after your first beer at 8 a.m. Get your second.
Yeah, 100%. That when you've got the opportunity, like, again, what I like to do in the morning, drink a lot of water when I wake up because usually I'm dehydrated. And then, just make sure like I make an effort to like really think about hydration. Sometimes I'll eat more fruit, say, like during the day, because I know it can, like, obviously I need to eat, but then it hydrates me as well. Like it's just those little things. Like I wouldn't eat half a watermelon at home, but probably would when I was on holiday.
But you've got that extra calorie buffer, so you can
exactly. Get those that nutritious content up as well.
The cats are in the way for Jambo.
Yeah, sorry everyone.
That's Instaverse of reality. We're having a little tea break because Jambo's cats not doing what they're told.
At the door.
Yeah.
So Steph, what would be your top 5 bits of advice you'd give to anyone that was going on holiday?
5 is a lot.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot. This isn't pre-rehearsed.
Yeah.
I can jump in and help if you need one.
Okay. I mean, I can probably find them, let's face it. Number 1 is if you're going on a plane, know that when you come back, do not get on the scales the day you get back, simply because when you get on a plane, your water retention is literally going to be all over the place, regardless of how many ice creams and beers and desserts you had. So at least give it a few days.
Yes.
Top tip number 2 is going to be take your eating routine. If you're serious about not ruining your progress or just maintaining what you have done for that week or 2 whilst you're away, take the routine that you have at home and plant that into your holiday routine as much as possible. Number 3 is going to be water intake. If anything, that should be a top priority.
Hydrate, stay great.
Ooh, now we're talking. Hydrate, stay great. Yeah, like that. Number 4, I mean, I'm basically just going over the whole podcast, what we've spoken about. But number 4 is going to be get your activity up. There's no harm in getting it up. It's only going to be a good thing. Don't think, oh my God, I can't be one of those that goes to the gym in the hotel room because that's just embarrassing. I don't want to be that person. Be whatever person you want.
I just say on that, like, it doesn't mean you have to get up and go for like a 5-mile hike in the morning. Like, literally, it can be like, while everyone else is asleep, get your sliders on, walk down and get some fresh orange juice. Do you know what I mean? Like, or go grab yourself a coffee by yourself and read your book. It's very small and simple, but the time you've maybe walked there and walked back, it might be an extra 2,500 steps. It's just.
Yeah, love it. Number 5 is relax in terms of the calories, because you are on holiday to enjoy yourself. You are there to reset, reboost. Now, something that I do with my Lean Bean Legends a lot, oh, the cat. If you're not on video, you can't see what's happening, but it's quite funny. Now I've lost my train of thought.
Something totally
Calories.
means
Oh yeah,
tracking.
something we do a lot as with my Lean Bean Legends is diet breaks. Now, as I said before, it's just a temporary reset in physically and mentally, back up to maintenance for a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
Allow that to be a thing. But it's part of the bigger journey of losing weight, losing body fat, and staying consistent long term. Like, I've never met a single person who can stay consistent with their calorie deficit for a year or maybe two. Whether you mean to or not, you have diet breaks. So make them planned. If you've got a holiday, it's a perfect time to have one. So plan it in, right? So diet break, think of it as a diet break. Go back up to maintenance calories. Remember, I've got point number 6. I've got another point. See, I told you.
You can have as many points as you want. This is your show.
Yeah, fair. So yeah, understand that about diet breaks. The last thing is think about when you're away, enjoying the company rather than focusing on the food. So you are there to spend time, well, if you're going away with someone or people, spend time with those people, the company that you are keeping. Focus on that, enjoy that. And the food is just like a little side thing. It's like I say about when you have barbecues or you have social events, even in the country that you live in, not on holiday. Don't make it about all about the food. Plan ahead as much as you can. Focus. Don't be mindless with what you're doing, but make your main focus and priority the people. The people.
Here's just one more thing.
Go on.
This isn't a point, it's just a general thought. I always think as well, when you go away, usually say like a hot holiday, city break, a lot of the healthier choices that you can make on the menu are probably going to be better than what you'd be having at home anyway. So unless you're obviously a professional chef, I don't know. But a lot of these are restaurant quality, you're getting fresh vegetables and fish and whatever it should be. So don't see it as all doom and gloom. Like,
I've got 0.7.
yeah.
0.7.
So, go on.
Along with, so if you're not a lean bean, then you might not know this, but I say this to my lean beans anyway. So it's taking the routine into your holiday, but every meal that you have, make it around a protein source. So like you were saying, Jambo, if you're going to have fish and veg and potatoes and stuff, fine. But just make sure you're basing your meals, or the meals that you choose are protein based. Protein based helps to keep you fuller for longer, therefore helps you to be more in control, stay consistent with your diet break / holiday.
Can I just say one thing on exercise as well?
Is this 0.8?
It's not really a point, but I can take a point if we want to have a point.
We'll
we
go
can have it as a point.
7.5, 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah.
So I know, like you said, like a lot of people sometimes feel like they have to go away and like if they got into an exercise routine, they have to exercise. Like, just have a break. Like, just relax. Don't worry about it. Your body probably needs. If you've been going hammer and tong for the last weeks, months, whatever it should be, just take a break. If you want to exercise, do it, but don't feel like you have to, like that you need to sort of drive into. Like, I always find when I come back off holiday or the last couple of days of holiday, like I've had that mental reset from food, work, exercise, whatever it should be, routine, and then I'm ready to refresh to go back to it. So almost it is like like a breaker, like you said, like a diet break or exercise break or routine break. Stand back, and then you can sort of attack things better when you come back. Whereas I feel like a lot of people, if they've gone away, they've exercised, they come back and they've got a bit of mental fatigue, a little bit of burnout, because maybe they've been gearing their way up all the way up to holiday. Like, that's the pinnacle, and they've hit it, and now all of a sudden they're kind of like in this purgatory of nothingness. So that all of a sudden their exercise is a bit like half-hearted, maybe don't have the motivation. So definitely just see it as an opportunity to have a mental reset and then come back feeling good, ready to attack it.
I think that does deserve its own point, to be fair.
Oh, really?
Really
Scrap
good.
one of your points. Get rid of yours.
Yeah. No, I can't. We'll put it
No,
point number 8.
That was point F.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool. Well, I think that's quite a nice roundup, Steph.
Mm.
I think we've covered quite a few points. Just for the listeners, where are you going on holiday?
I'm going on a cruise to the Norwegian fjords. Mm-hmm.
Very, very jealous.
Yeah, so if you watch this in time, get on the Insta stories, have a little watch, because I'll be putting loads up. Don't you worry.
Lovely.
Don't you worry. Yeah, and I do want to say, if anyone's listening to this podcast because they are going away on holiday, enjoy, have fun, chill, relax. We're jealous.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I might actually look at booking a weekend away now, just because we spoke about this.
But if you're listening to this podcast, hopefully it inspires you to go away too. So we're just here to hashtag influence.
Oh, maybe we can start our own diet travel show.
Oh, if people would pay us to do that, can you imagine?
Yeah. I'll just eat the food and you can just talk about the sensible decisions that we should make. And I'll make the unsensible decisions.
So I have
it's a win-win.
The cameraman, comedian.
Yeah, basically. Perfect.
I mean, I'll take it.
Right, Steph. Before we go, can we please say, have you had anybody reach out to you yet on social media, say hello, told you that they listen to the podcast and that they're from the other end of the earth?
No, but I have had a new email subscriber from India.
Oh, very exciting.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's podcast related, but we will take it.
That is good. I'm going to just have a look at our recent locations, because I like to do this at the moment, just to see where our listeners are coming from. Right. So recently we have had Philippines, Australia, Frankfurt in Germany is definitely got a couple of listeners there. The last episode we had 3 people from Frankfurt listen to. So if you're in Frankfurt and maybe you don't have Instagram, you can't reach out, just know that we're thinking of you.
Come on, the Germans.
Yeah, come on. But yeah, Japan, Turkey, Jordan, Netherlands. So big shout out to everyone. Obviously, we've said it before. If you're on social media, reach out to one of us, say hello, that you're listening. Preferably me first, because I'll never hear the end of it if it is Steph. So come and reach out. Steph, where can we find you on social media?
Where
can we find you in live?
Where can you find me in life? Yes. Okay. So basically my life is on social media, so that's probably a good place to start. That's where you'll find out if you want to actually come and stalk me in person. So please don't do that. So social media, at foodislife.nutrition on Facebook and on Instagram. You can also head over to my website if you want more details on the Lean Bean course, if you want to go and check out some testimonials, one-to-one coaching, one-to-one legend coaching. That's all on the website, which is foodislifenutrition.com. You can find all those links in the show notes below. Jambo, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at jambo.the.great. If you can hear any purring, that's not me, it's the cat. Just so I don't sound like I'm purring.
I can't hear any purring, to be fair.
No, perfect. Yeah. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope it's been informative and fun. And we'll see you. Oh,
I was going to say, if anyone's got any other questions on holiday tips that they want, definitely reach out to us for that anyway.
Yeah. Me, maybe.
Jambo.
Me first. Yeah. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Speak to you later, Jambo. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.